2, 3, 1, go.
All right, this is John at Just Jeepsters, and today we're going to cover something here real basic. As we get a lot of questions, and we also get a lot of returns about what we're going to talk about with the fuel tanks on the Jeepster Commando. So with us today, we've got Jeepster Baby here, and he's already in his Jeep. He's going to help narrate the video here. But what we're going to explain today, because we get asked this a lot of people, they think that when we talk about fuel tanks between side fill and rear fill, everybody assumes that side fill means you're talking about where it fills from the side of the Jeepster. All Jeepster Commandos fuel from the side like this, like you can see in this video here, but that's not actually what we're talking about when we ask if you have a side fill or a rear fill. So next we're going to move on to the tanks and talk about the differences. I have both of these tanks oriented with the sheet metal there. So what you're looking at right here, this is the back of the fuel tank, and that's the back of the fuel tank. So this right here, this is a side fill fuel tank for a Jeepster Commando. Usually after around 1968 to 1971 is when you see this side fill. And what that means is that you fill from the side there and it goes straight into the side of this tank right here. That's a true side fill. Rear fill is different. So what a rear fill does, yes, your gas cap is over here on the side, but then it makes a 90-degree turn followed by another 90-degree turn to actually fill from the back. So this is the back of the fuel tank, back of the vehicle, and this would be the front, face towards the front of the vehicle. So this is what's called a rear fill. You usually only see this rear fill on the 67 and some 68s. It's actually kind of a poor design. I won't go into why they did that. But we get a lot of questions about the difference between a rear and a side fill. Then we're just going to talk about some of the components here that go to both of these fuel tanks. The fuel hoses, and most of this stuff here is all made in the U.S., and some of it's made by Jeepster Man, and the rest is made by MTS, who we're a vendor for. So this here is actually the fuel filler hose for the rear fill, and like I talked about, it fills from the side, but then it turns and goes back to the back and does about a 90 and comes back. So that is a side fill hose there. Now we sell this hose with one complete kit. Originally they came in 2 pieces, but having it in 1 piece is far better than 2 pieces. So this fuel hose is for the side fill. This part's also made in the US. So here's how the side fill fills from the side. All right. Now I usually recommend, if you're replacing everything, I would just go ahead and put a side fill in there. Just swap over to a side fill. The rear fill is just kind of a goofy design. So the side fill is a 12-gallon tank. The rear fill is a 14-gallon tank. The side fill already has a return built in, which leads me to the next parts we're going to talk about. I've got 2 different sending units. These will work in either tank. This sending unit does not have a return. This sending unit has a return there. So when you're using a side fill, you don't need the one with the return. This is lower priced, and just use this one here because you already have a return line built into this tank. When you use the rear fill tank, this one does not have a return built into it, so you have to use this one with the return built into it. But if you're using a side fill, just go ahead and get the one without the return. It's a better price. As you can see, these are all 6 mounting holes. They come with the cork gasket on these. Next parts we're going to talk about, this is the vent hose. Normally there's another piece of hose connected in here for the vent hose. The side fill and the rear fill both have different vent hoses. We sell both of those. And then these parts, some people don't think about these, but you know, these you'll probably need as well because yours are probably dry rotted. This is made by Jeepster Man. These 2 gaskets and this metal plate. So this gasket is where your gas cap goes. It's a new gasket there. And then this here we sell as a kit. This metal is usually rusted away. It's on your floor. It's underneath that cover that's back in the back that hides this fuel hose. And this is the actual gasket that goes with it. When you install this, you'll end up stretching this gasket some to make it line up with these holes. So today we just covered the difference between a side fill and rear fill, and hopefully kind of cleared up some confusion. All these parts are offered by Just Jeepsters and the Jeepster Man. And all of this stuff here that you looked at today is made in the U.S. Some made by just Jeepsters and Jeepster Man, and the rest is all made by MTS. Thanks.